She laughed first, and that laugh cut sharper than the words that followed. It wasn't cruel, not exactly, it was amused, careless, the kind of laugh someone gives when they think they already know your ending. "A single dad like you?" she said, tilting her glass, eyes glinting under the cafe's warm lights. "You probably don't even know how to please a woman anymore." The table went quiet for half a second too long, and in that pause, Adam felt every scar he'd collected over the last 7 years press against his ribs. 7 years since his wife walked out. 7 years of school lunches packed before sunrise, bedtime stories read while exhaustion burned behind his eyes, bills paid down to the last coin. He wasn't invisible, but he'd learned how people saw him. Safe. Tired. Predictable. Not dangerous. Not desirable. Adam didn't flinch. He didn't laugh it off either. He leaned forward just enough to close the space between them, his voice calm, steady, almost amused. "Wanna bet?" Her smile faltered, just for a breath. That was the moment everything shifted. Maya hadn't expected confidence. She'd expected embarrassment, maybe anger. Instead, she saw something far more unsettling: certainty. Adam wasn't posturing. He wasn't flirting like a man chasing approval. He was grounded, present, like a man who knew exactly who he was. And that rattled her. The night unraveled differently after that. Conversation deepened. Teasing turned into curiosity. Curiosity into something electric and unspoken. Adam talked about his daughter, not with apology, but pride. About rebuilding his life from silence. About learning patience, empathy, and restraint in ways most men never had to. Maya, sharp-tongued and guarded, found herself listening more than speaking. She'd spent years dating ambition, charm, men who promised fireworks and delivered smoke. Adam wasn't fireworks. He was gravity. When they parted that night, nothing happened, no kiss, no number exchanged with promises attached. But as Maya walked home, his words echoed in her mind, not the challenge, but the calm behind it. And Adam? He sat alone in his car for a long moment, hands on the wheel, heart steady. He hadn't tried to prove anything. He'd simply refused to shrink. And somewhere, deep down, he knew this wasn't over. Maya told herself she wouldn't think about him again. Told herself he was a curiosity, nothing more. But days passed, and she found herself replaying the way he listened, really listened, without interrupting, without selling himself. When they met again, it wasn't planned. A charity event. A crowded hall. Adam was there with his daughter, kneeling to fix a ribbon in her hair, completely unaware Maya was watching. And that's when the bet stopped being a joke. This wasn't a man pretending. This was a man who showed up. The way his daughter laughed, the way he stood when he noticed Maya, not surprised, not overeager, just present. Their conversations grew layered. Honest. Vulnerable. Maya admitted she teased because it was safer than hoping. Adam admitted he'd stopped chasing approval years ago, his daughter had cured him of that. What followed wasn't a conquest, wasn't a dramatic victory. It was something rarer. Respect. Trust. The kind of attraction built slowly, deliberately, like a fire meant to last. When Maya finally said, "I was wrong about you," Adam smiled, not triumphant, not smug. "I know," he said gently. "But you had to see it yourself." The real win wasn't proving he could please a woman. It was reminding her, and himself, that depth beats flash, presence beats bravado, and a man shaped by responsibility isn't weaker, he's forged. And when they finally leaned in, it wasn't about a bet anymore. It was about choosing each other with eyes wide open. After that night, nothing between them moved fast, and that was what unsettled Maya the most, because she was used to speed, to sparks that burned hot and died loud, but Adam moved with intention, like a man who understood that real connection didn't need to shout to be felt, and every time they met, sometimes for coffee after his daughter's school drop-off. Sometimes for quiet walks where conversation drifted from childhood wounds to adult disappointments. She found herself disarmed by how safe she felt without ever feeling bored, and it scared her more than any charming liar ever had, because Adam never tried to impress her, never tried to dominate the moment, never once acted like she was a prize to be won, and slowly she realized the bet she'd mocked that first night wasn't about pleasure at all, it was about presence. About whether a man who had given so much of himself away could still choose a woman without losing himself, and the answer revealed itself in the smallest moments. The way he noticed when she went quiet, the way he remembered things she said weeks ago, the way he never flinched when she challenged him, only smiled like he understood exactly where her armor came from, and one evening, when rain pressed softly against the windows and the city felt distant, Maya finally said the thing she'd been circling for weeks, her voice low and honest, admitting that she had teased him because men like him made her feel exposed, because if someone like Adam failed her, she wouldn't be able to blame immaturity or ego, she'd have to admit the risk was real, and Adam didn't rush to reassure her or promise anything dramatic, he simply leaned in close enough for her to feel the calm strength in his breath and said that being a single dad didn't make him less capable of loving deeply, it taught him how to love without conditions. And that was the moment the tension snapped into something undeniable. Not explosive but magnetic, and when they finally kissed it wasn't hungry or rushed, it was deliberate, confident, like a man who knew exactly what he was doing and didn't need to prove it, and Maya understood then how wrong she'd been, not just about him, but about strength itself, because Adam didn't please her by trying to overpower or impress, he pleased her by seeing her fully and standing steady in who he was, and later, when she laughed softly and whispered, "I never stood a chance, did I?" Adam smiled against her and replied, "You did."